How to create your dream life? Yes, this is a question that all of us struggle with, especially people who are transgender or cross dressers. We are filled with the notion in our head that no matter what happens, we will never be able to live freely. But have you wondered why are there some people who, despite being from the trans community, despite being from the LGBT community, are actually able to live the way they want to live? They have created their life on their own terms. Now, yes, a lot of people will say, oh, it's all a lot about confidence, it's a lot about, positive mental attitude and things like that. But when we try to be positive all the time, it doesn't work. Because most of us do not understand the basic fundamental of how this human system functions. If you understand this, you will be able to shift your reality from what it is today, especially if you're someone who is in the closet, if you're someone who is not really out there and living freely, if you're someone who is still scared. What I'm going to share in this video is going to help you change your perspective towards life, change your perspective towards how you can create the life that you want. You see, our human body is made up of what? It's a solid material, as we know it. It has a mind which creates thoughts, and we feel emotions in our body. What is this body made up of? It is made up of muscles and bones and tissues and ligaments. What are these things made up of? These things are made up of cells. What are cells made up of? Cells are made up of molecules. What are molecules made up of? Molecules are made up of atoms. This is not something which is new. Most of us have studied this in probably 5th grade or 6th grade, but we have forgotten this. What are atoms made up of? Atoms are made up of neutrons, protons and electrons. What are these subatomic particles made up of? If you keep going deeper, scientists have anyway done this experiment years ago, and they have found that the smallest particle is called photon, which is the building block of this material universe. Photons is what shapes and creates the reality that you live in. There was an experiment, I was talking to someone who is very much into neuroscience and epigenetics. She was telling me that in a study, scientists put the human DNA and a photon in a box, and they took the air out of it to create a vacuum. What they observed was that the human DNA was able to influence the photon, which is the building block of our physical reality. The human DNA was able to influence the photon, and the photon was in a certain way, and the photon was like following the tail of the DNA. Then there was another study that she was telling me about, in which it was found that our human emotions impact our DNA. So see, our DNA is like, it's like a coiled source of data. This data, this information decides the color of your skin, the shape of your nose, your height and everything. When you're thinking something negative, this coiled DNA gets constricted. It becomes tighter and tighter, and it is not able to express itself fully. This leads to issues in your body. It could be health issues, it could be psychological issues. But on the other hand, if you're feeling positive, this human DNA, it opens up and is able to express itself fully. So since your emotions are impacting the DNA, and the DNA impacts the photon, which is the building block of this universe, which is the building block of our life's reality, it was found that your emotions can help you to create your reality. This may sound very philosophical for some people. Some of you may not believe it, but there have been studies, thousands of studies. Scientists have been talking about this for years, that the human emotion directly impacts your state of being. This is what law of attraction is all about. But the question is, how do we know how to change our reality? Or rather, the question is, how do we change our emotions? That is the easiest thing to do. Thoughts. If you think positive things, you feel positive. If you feel positive, your DNA expresses itself fully. You become a more open and vibrant human being. Your health improves, your mental well-being improves, which clearly, as I mentioned earlier, impacts the photon, which is the building block of your life, your reality. So if you can keep yourself in a state of positivity, it really impacts your life. It really manifests it really manifests whatever it is that you want to manifest in your life. Positive situations, positive opportunities, positive people. If you're someone who has never dived into this subject, let me tell you, I have been following people who are like neuroscientists, spiritual leaders, business experts for the last 3 to 4 years, and all of them have been talking about this. If you know how to regulate or manage your own emotions, if you know how to stay positive by always having positive thoughts, you can actually change your reality. You can actually create your dream life. You can actually attract positive situations in your life. Just imagine, especially for people like us, cross-dressers or transgender people, we need to understand this more than anybody else. Because what we face in the society is not something that others are facing. So please pay attention to this video. Watch it again if you have to. Your emotions create your reality. So from today, see if you can keep yourself in a state of positivity, keep yourself in a state of positive emotions. And over a period of time, if you're able to do this consistently, you will see shifts happening in your life. I hope you're able to do this. I hope this video was able to give you some really important information that you can implement in your life and see the changes that you want to see in your life. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video with some amazing content.